My name is Win Smith, and it's not easy to describe a lifetime of experience in Randolph in 4 minutes, and I thought I'd talk mostly about how my father Milton, my brother David, and I built our cabin on Pasture Path in the 1950s. Brings back memories of square dances and some of the things we've heard about. David and I were in high school at that time. In the 50s, I remember first coming here at about the time that Jack Boothman was busy selling off lots on Randolph Hill. I believe Dad thought building the cabin would be a good bonding experience for him and his two sons. He liked the woods and the trees on the Pasture Path lot. When we bought it, though, it obscured some of the wonderful view of Mount Madison and Mount Adams. By the time we took possession of the land, Jack had logged the property and sold the wood, presumably at a profit. This improved our view, but somehow disappointed Dad. However, 25 years later, the forest was back and more cutting was necessary. The first step in building the cabin was digging a 4 by 8 foot hole for the fireplace chimney foundation. The depth of the hole was determined by the depth of the hard pan, which was almost impenetrable, 4 feet or so down. I remember using a combination of crowbars and shovels to dig down to the hard pan. This hole was then filled with concrete, which we did not mix ourselves. Framing the house took some heavy labor, even though originally we had only the kitchen and the living room of our present cottage. The Reverend Fred Finney, Ben's father, who lived down Pasture Path a little way from us, was in his 30s at the time and was in pretty good physical shape. I think he had been a member of the Harvard swimming team. He helped Dad move the heavy foundation lumber into place. And since then, the Finney family has built 2 more houses along the same street. My brother David had artistic talent, and his main job was building the fieldstone fireplace, making sure that the stones were cut to the right size and that they looked good when they were placed in with mortar. He also did a series of watercolors of Randolph in that day, which included things like the Mount Crescent House, the Randolph train station, the Randolph pool, the Ravine House pool, with a little sign that said, "No fake drowning." These watercolors were eventually published in the Ford Times. In a kind of nepotism, the editor was my uncle. My father wrote the story, my brother did the watercolors. My high school hobby as a budding physicist was electronics, so a major part of my job in building the cabin was doing most of the electrical wiring, and I remember how difficult it was to cut BX cable to the right length. But everything worked, and I got no shock. And as I recall, you didn't have to have an electrician's license, although the hookup to the power line was not done by me. My parents, Francis and Milton, spent the next 20 years or so coming every summer, and then after my mother died, he married another Francis Chase, and we got a new family. And this week we're celebrating Nancy and my 80th birthday. Summer and Christmas in Randolph we spent with 5 Koopman cousins, Philippa, Clover, Ann, Beth, and Barbara, and their children and grandchildren. My father dubbed the cabin the Mouse and Spruce, and although it wasn't winterized, we're not complaining, and we love to come up at Christmas time as well as in the summer. So when I when I come up here, all these memories come flooding back, and we love Randolph.